We got a lot of minor league headlines to catch up on here on the call up. You got me, Aram Layton, him, Jack McMullen, and we were going to do Dodgers top prospects. My laptop's in the shop, so it would have been a little bit harder to kind of get through all that information and everything. That list is live though. If you're listening, it's linked in the episode description, and we're going to do that on, was that Thursday or Friday, Jack, that we'll get that Dodgers episode out?
I think Thursday morning we're going to record it, so that'll be out on Thursday, and that'll be a banger, as some may say. It's
Yeah.
not top 15, it's top 16, because you got this kid, Peter Hubeck, that you like?
Yeah, I had to throw him in there. Well, what happened is I ended up making him 15, and then I realized I needed to put somebody else in the top 15. Happened last time too. So then I'm like, I'm not going to undo the write-up. Gave us 16. Yeah. So one, I wanted to make sure that, we had everything clicking on all cylinders for such a loaded farm system. And two, we were looking at probably an hour 20 cutoff here, and knowing our pacing with these loaded farms, we didn't want to rush through the Dodgers. So we are going to save that for later in the week. But also, we have a lot to talk about here anyways, where Quinn Priester trade to the Brewers, really fascinating. Joffrey Rodriguez going the other way. Dollander and Veen both up at the big league level for the Rockies. That's super exciting. Tim Tawa, really fun story with the D-backs. He got called up as well. We want to highlight some of the most exciting teams now that minor league baseball is underway across every single level besides the complex. And then you have Nick Kurtz going nuclear, Jurrangelo Cjintje throwing with both arms. You got guys going nuts in AAA. Matt Allan is throwing for the first time in like a half decade and looked great. And then the two top arms from last year's draft class, Hagen Smith and Chase Burns, were as advertised for the most part in their first starts of the year. So there's a lot to go through. I guess we should start, though, with kind of a surprising trade.
Yeah.
I mean, very surprising.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. So the actual trade breakdown is Brewers, who desperately need pitching, they get Quinn Priester. I think it's a great get with control. Makes a lot of sense. Probably feel confident that they can help maximize him the way that I think the Red Sox felt confident and seemed like they were having him kind of heading in the right direction there. And I think the Brewers are excited to pick up, where they left off in the development. I like the addition. It makes a lot of sense as a target for them because they don't buy rentals. What I was surprised is the cost of acquisition. But I guess that's what 5+ years or 6 years of control. Is it 5 for Quinn now?
I think it's 5. Yeah, let me pull up the Spot Track page, but I would assume it's 5 years of control.
5 years of a starter, even if it's a 5 starter, and I'm assuming they have a little bit more hopes, maybe that he can be a 4. But 5 years of that is not going to come cheap, and I think he's elevated his floor from up and down guy to potential 5 starter that I think was just blocked out by a lot of other options in Boston. But the fact that the Red Sox were able to net Joffrey Rodriguez, who's a number 5 prospect for us in the Brewer system, a comp A pick, and a player to be named later. I just was not expecting that kind of return, which led me to wonder, were we maybe a little too high on Joffrey Rodriguez? Is that part of it? Or is that really the price to pay to pry away a controllable pitcher from a team that probably was like, we don't need to move him right now. Like, we could use the 40 spot. He's not going to be needed for us right now, but we're not in a rush to move this guy.
I do think the farther you are from the deadline, it sounds weird because if there's competition, the price goes up for a player at the trade deadline because the demand is higher than the supply. There's one player and multiple teams want him. But at this point right now, if there are no other suitors, the price tag is going to be high to acquire someone via trade.
It's make me do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's make me do it right now because I could hold and have him build up his value over the course of the next 3 months, and then I move him at the deadline when there are multiple suitors. So it's almost like a suspension bridge of value. At the deadline, the value is really high, right? Because teams need players. At the beginning of the year, the value is high because if anybody's going to move, they have to put together a package that makes the team not want to hold. And then in the middle, that's when you usually see the rinky-dink deals, like end of May, where it's like, okay, yeah, this guy's just not really factoring in this year. He's not going to do anything for us this year. Let's go get this prospect. So view it as that suspension bridge where you kind of take a dip. But right now we're at the peak. Don't forget, in early May of last year, the Marlins net Dylan Head and more for Luis Arise.
Yeah.
And that is a expensive Luis Arise who is not really eclipsing 2.5 wins above replacement. So the Padres like viewed an opportunity to grab Luis Ariz before other suitors came in, but Peter Bendix made them meet a steep price point, and they met that steep price point. So, like, I'm not saying Quinn Priester's Luis Ariz because Ariz has been an all-star and Priester has not been. But at the end of the day, to your point, it's a starting pitcher with 5 years of control. So you can build that and say, hey, I have this. You better meet my price. And I don't think you oversold Joffrey Rodriguez. I just think Milwaukee met a steep price because they're kind of in panic mode right now, and Elvin Rodriguez is starting games.
And the reality is, yeah, that Priester in AAA, he's good. He's going to throw well with the way that he looks now and where I think the arsenal is at with the pair of fastballs, really utilizing the breaking balls more effectively. Like, I really do think that Priester's optimized to the point where he's going to be a back end of the rotation innings eater type. And he fits, I think, what the Brewers like very well. So if he's putting up numbers in AAA, yeah, that value is only going to become more substantial there. And he was leapfrogged by Dobbins, and you have Giolito already on rehab and Bayo on rehab. So it makes sense. But, you know, also from the Brewers' perspective, they have 6 draft picks in the top 100 this year. And that was something that Tyler Jennings pointed out to me in our Discord. And because I was asking him, like, is it maybe because the draft is lighter this year, which it is. I think this draft is going to be one even lighter than last year's by a good bit. So you have 6 picks in the top 100 selections of a draft that is probably the weakest in a decade. Maybe it makes some sense to try to cash in on some of those picks to get some big league talent, because at the end of the day, you're probably not going to feel great about those 6 picks compared to how you do in other years. Of course, the Brewers love draft capital. They love to be able to have that flexibility, but I think it also says a little bit about the draft class. I think that the Brewers are willing to send out a comp A pick here because they never trade picks.
No, because they know that they can execute on those picks. And you even think about what they did last year, like Braylon Payne, they saved a lot of money. Payne looks awesome in the early returns. And then Blake Burke looks awesome too. So you know that they draft well. And guess what? So do the Boston Red Sox. I know they've changed kind of leadership there with Chaim Bloom, who was a really good drafter going to St. Louis, and Craig Breslow taking over. But we like the Red Sox draft from a year ago. So this is an opportunity for the Red Sox to grab a pick. And they get a young kid in Joffrey Rodriguez, who I know you really like. He's just 18 years old, and he's holding his own. Like, I feel like Joffrey Rodriguez was subconsciously, for me, clumped in with the Luis Laras of the world in that Brewers system. Guys that were really good at the complex, that tailored off a little bit. But that's not really the case with Joffrey. He's been good at the lower level.
I think that, and so it's a great point though there, because, you know, Lara did show some good things in low A, and then it was high A where he just plateaued. So for Joffrey, it's going to be proving that he can contribute at high A, and I think he will, because the difference is he's got more power potential. He's a bigger frame. He can fill out a little bit more, and I'm imagining Rodriguez in that, and the Brewers do a phenomenal job with their hitting development as well. But the one thing that the Red Sox may do as well as anybody is helping their guys add power. And I'm the bat speed, baby. It's real though. And I think Joffrey, with a little bit more of that uptick in bat speed or a little bit more juice, the approach is there, like the field it hits there, he could be a really exciting prospect. So I love it for the Red Sox. I get it for the Brewers, but wow, a steep price to pay there. And now the Red Sox system, which of course took a little bit of a hit when you went out and got Garrett Crochet, still was and is one of the stronger farm systems in baseball. Just got a little bit stronger now with a guy that'll slot into their top 10 and another draft pick that's going to give them more flexibility in this upcoming draft. So, I mean, good move right there by the Red Sox for a guy that's probably like 8 on the depth chart for them starting pitching wise.
And you mentioned like it was kind of a steep return for Crochet too. Like the top end of that farm system was decimated by that Crochet trade, but Kyle Teal, Chaim Bloom pick in 2023. Braden Montgomery, Craig Breslow pick in 2024. Like they're cashing in on these first round picks. They're cashing in on good drafts. And are Teal and Braden Montgomery going to be really good for the White Sox? Maybe. Teal is like looking like, yes, slam dunk. He's going to be an all-star this year. He's amazing. But like, you know, that's what you do, man. You replenish the farm, you play the quantity game, you move them for big leaguers, and then you get some back here. Like, the Padres never make this kind of deal. They only subtract. And now you got Breslow adding and subtracting at the same time in the same offseason, in the beginning of the season. It's great.
That's how you hang around and always have capital. And you hang on to your your clear imminent big leaguers. Christian Campbell, he didn't go. Roman Anthony, he didn't go. Marcelo Meyer, he didn't go. So yeah, the system took a hit, but they kept their trio of top guys. And I mean, the Red Sox are in one of the more enviable positions, I think, in baseball right now.
Yep.
So are the Rockies, now that Chase Dollander and Zach Veen are on the way. Dollander's first career start, we talked about it on the Just Baseball show. Throw the stat line out the window. This guy was impressive. Making your big league debut at Coors, I can't imagine the mental hurdles there, but he talked about it on the show like a year and a half ago that I'm not going to be too worried, or a year ago that I'm not going to be too worried about pitching out there. And that's how he looked. He didn't really care. Yeah, he gave up a couple home runs, but tons of swings and misses, attacked the zone, and you saw the stuff really play. I think it's just going to be a matter of learning which pitches play better at altitude and then which pitches play better when he's on the road, because he was kind of trying everything. But I love to see that. I mean, we saw him throw 79 pitches, 34 four-seamers, 21 like cutters, which are really sliders, 15 curveballs, and 9 changeups. He used the whole arsenal there. The changeup wasn't really there for him, but I think it was really encouraging. Sometimes you see guys in their big league debut kind of lean on 2 pitches and just see how things go. He was confidently going to everything. I think he's going to start to figure out how to pitch out there, but he got the win, man. And if you keep 5 runs off the board, like if it's 4 earned or less through 5 innings, you're going to win a lot of games at Coors Field.
Yeah, I loved watching that condensed game of Dollander, and I watched some of ABs just through, and like the way that guy is throwing, we talk about it a lot. Like he's back to 2022 Dollander, the one that looked like pitcher one. He just looks really athletic, and it's really interesting looking at the torso. And we talked about this at the beginning of last year when Dollander was struggling in 2023. It felt like he was almost a little bit more upright and robotic. He's naturally going to have an upright torso. He's going to look like he's not really letting his whole body get into the delivery, but that's because his legs are working so well and the torso is staying. It's almost just turning. Like it's not really bending like you typically see a pitcher's torso bend.
But kind of like falls forward.
It falls forward. Yeah, it just feels like there's a little bit more freedom in the fall now, which is the case in 2022 when he was one of the best pitchers in the country, and it was the case last year in the minor leagues. In 23, it felt like I was almost watching Jordan Walker swing a bat, where it was like, okay, I'm at point A. Okay, now I'm at point B. Okay, now I'm at point C. Time to swing the bat. Jordan Walker's not good when he's doing that. Jordan Walker's good when he's just being Jordan Walker and he's letting the mechanics take over. He's letting the athleticism take over. Dollander's letting the athleticism take over. And I was really encouraged by that first start because it felt like every pitch was athletic. Every pitch was flowing off his fingertips well. And I can't wait to see what he looks like at sea level.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the biggest thing that was affected was the 4-seam carry, as it's going to be for anybody. Yeah. But he still got, what was it, 4 swinging strikes on that 4-seamer. And again, on the road, that number could double. But then he got another 3 whiffs on the curveball and another pair of whiffs on the slider and then another whiff on the changeup. So getting swings and misses across the board on everything. If there's a little bit more feel for the changeup, I think that's a pitch that's going to help him more out there. But that hard slider is going to work. The fastball is still going to play pretty well because he throws fuzz and he's deceptive. And then just kind of figuring out how to locate the breaking ball and the slider, just knowing how it's going to be affected movement-wise. But, I mean, he helps the Rockies get better right now immediately, and he might be their best pitching option because he's just got he's the one guy that even if his stuff is subdued, it's going to be still good at altitude, where I don't know if you can really say that about anybody else in the rotation.
No, I mean, and I've thrown the name like John Gray out a little bit. Like John Gray was the most talented pitcher to come through Colorado in a long time. And Gray, they were good, not great numbers at Coors Field, but he parlayed that into a $50 million contract with Texas.
Exactly.
This is the most talented arm that Colorado has had since John Gray. And I think Dollander is more talented than John Gray.
Absolutely. So it's exciting. And then you get Zach Veen too. Mm-hmm. I know fans were clamoring for it. Kind of weird that he didn't make the opening day roster, especially after they traded Nolan Jones. But, Veen did what you do, which I was really encouraged by because, I think sometimes you can see a young player either press or just be pissed off and get to AAA. And with Veen, and they talked a lot about like maturity and things like that with him. And maybe that was part of the reason why they sent him there after he won spring training player of the year, which you and I didn't know was an actual award for the Rockies. He just went out and mashed in Albuquerque. In 8 games, he piled up 12 hits. He went 5 for 5 in the last game, and he gave them no choice but to bring him up and option Jordan Beck. And I mean, we'll see how it all looks, but he's healthy. He's swinging way more freely, similar to the conversation they were talking about with feeling mechanical. I don't know if it was as much mechanical with him as it was. Sometimes I just watch a guy swinging guarded, and how can you blame him when he's just been so hurt all the time, where now he's letting it rip. He's not afraid to whiff. And I think that's actually allowing him to whiff less. So we're seeing him just swing more freely. He's hitting the ball hard to all fields now. And I saw it in spring training. When I went to that game where he did the bat spike, heard around the world, and then apologized, like that, it wasn't just that swing. It was even the foul balls and everything. I'm like, he's swinging with more confidence again. And you're seeing that here with Veen. Now, is he going to be 40-40? Like, I know Jack already has Sharpied in here. 60-60, sorry, 60-60. Probably not, but him at altitude with his speed and now, the improved power and approach, he can be an above average bat, and he can grab a lot of bags for you out there. And I think that's something that they sorely need in that lineup.
Yeah, the pitch that I am really curious about for him is four-seam fastballs. Like, how is he going to fare against four-seam fastballs? Looking at his zone contact last year in the minor leagues of under 80% against fastballs, against four-seam fastballs.
Yeah.
And, like, that's in minor league baseball. So, I have no worry that he catches a hanging breaking ball. He's going to get plenty of hanging breaking balls in Colorado, but if four-seam guys have a plan of attack against Veen, it's locate the top 3 times and make him tip his cap to you. I wonder if that blue zone is going to be exposed as much. But again, weird things happen in Colorado. I have no idea if guys can successfully do that against Veen. He has the ballpark on his side in a way that, like, 29 other organizations you cannot have this conversation about. But he has the weird air and element on his side. He could just be an insane splits guy. And to be honest, that's fine. Colorado's okay with insane splits guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. He probably will be, because those four-seamers, like, they're going to, if it's a 60 grade four-seamer, it's going to be a 50 grade four-seamer out there, and so on and so forth. So that's going to allow him to feast there a little bit. And he's got more space, and the way that he hits the ball to all fields is going to, the space out there is going to work in his favor. And I think the four-seamers will be a little bit easier for him to catch up to. So I do think he's going to be a big splits guy. And I agree with you. Like, they'll welcome that, because they've been wheeling out guys here that haven't been able to even hit at Coors. So I do think he's going to be a guy that can absolutely produce at Coors. And then, he's going to be solid on the road. At least now I think you have a better shot with the improved approach, with the added impact now as he's swinging more freely, to where, I mean, even if he's a 7-something OPS on the road and he's closer to 8 or above 800 at home, you're in a really good spot. And you have a solid player. The defense will be interesting to monitor because his routes are just brutal. But if that gets better and better, like, it could be a solid 2-3 win player and be a good piece for them.
I don't know what the recipe was with Nolan Jones. By the way, congrats on the homecoming, Nolan Jones. But, like, I mean, I don't know what the recipe was there. Nolan Jones looked absolutely lost in the corner outfield when I saw him in minor league baseball. And then he goes to Colorado and is like, okay. I'm not saying that they're a corner outfield whisperer for guys that don't know how to do it, but, like, it may not look as egregious as we think it may, just because you're bought into every single pitch in the big league.
Exactly. No, and that definitely makes a big difference. And with a guy like Veen, who, again, they've talked a little bit about, just like the focus, maturity side of things, that could be a big part of it. And I think it'll be easier to be locked in when you're playing in front of 30K at Coors, because they seem to always draw that no matter what. And now they're going to continue to draw more, that they have this young, exciting aspect to them. And it's cool to see that.
Just wait till Yanquiel Fernandez gets up and hits 40 homers in his first 50 games. Then
He already
everybody's going.
He already homered. And he swings at 98% of pitches.
Yeah, but that's so fun.
Tim Tawa made his big league debut for the Diamondbacks. This was a cool call up, because my first job ever, I got to watch him play at the for the Newport Goals, and he was so impressive there. He's one of the best players in the league there. But then he went on to have a really nice career at Stanford, but it was not like a super high draft pick, 11th round. And I mean, this guy, when we did like our football draft of baseball players, this was my pick. When we did that on the Just Baseball mailbag episode, because Tawa is like the all-time passing leader in the state of Oregon. He's a phenomenal athlete. And he's a good utility piece for them. And there's a reason why they added him to the 40-man ahead of the season. I mean, he was just making a mockery of the PCL in his 6 games. And so he earned himself the opportunity. He had 3 home runs in 6 games. He had a 1,400 OPS. And he may have had the most quiet 30 home run season in the minor leagues last year. The most quiet 30 home run, 30 double season last year in the minor leagues. I understand that he was hitting in Amarillo and Reno, which is just like 2 of the best places to hit. And in Reno, he went crazy. But in 105 games in Amarillo, where it's a little bit less hitter friendly, 21 home runs, 270.
Amarillo might be more hitter friendly.
Is it more than Reno?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Zero gravity in Amarillo. It's insane. That's where that Jabron hit like a 510-foot home run.
Yeah. Well, he had 30 homers and 30 doubles. So got to tip the cap to that. He can play all over. He's a great athlete. He could be a utility piece for them, but regardless, a decent up and down guy to fill in for them. And I'm excited for Tawa, who picked up his first major league hit, I believe, yesterday.
Yep. 30 homer seasons in the minor leagues last year. Davison De Los Santos hit 40. Majority of those came in Amarillo and Reno.
Yeah.
So, how about that? Ryan Ward in Oklahoma City, who is just too good for AAA baseball, but he's not getting a shot with the Dodgers because they're the Dodgers. Luken Baker, who's too good for AAA baseball. Tim Tawa, and then you got Colby Thomas, who hit 31 in the A's system, and then Jason Vossler, who's been in AAA since 2018.
Vossler hit 30?
Yeah, so those are the 30 homer guys in minor league baseball last year. So Tawa is an exclusive company, and notice it's either Davison De Los Santos or a bunch of guys that are too good for minor league baseball but not good enough for the big leagues. You hope that Tawa is good enough for the big leagues, and with the defensive versatility, it seems like he will be, but like it's interesting company, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. That's the difference, though, is he has that versatility and athleticism. And like in Reno already, like in those 6 games, he played 2 at first, 1 in left, 3 in right. And in the big leagues, he played 2 games at second. So you get I think he can be a nice bench utility option.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into most exciting teams, or should we stay on the PCL launchpad topic with Nick Kurtz?
Let's stay on the PCL launchpad thing. I'm going to move most exciting teams under. Why don't we just do that to wrap?
Okay.
We'll do that real quick. Just a fun little dessert to the show. But yeah, let's do Kurtz.
So kind of with that same conversation here, Kurtz is incredible. And Kurtz is putting up ridiculous numbers. And it's when you're looking at the production and the home runs that he's hitting, it's foul pole to foul pole. My question, though, is how much of this do you think is a little bit like PCL effect? Because if there was a candidate to benefit from the PCL, I don't know if there's a better candidate than Nick Kurtz. And that's not a knock on him. It's the fact that he elevates as consistently as anybody in the minor leagues and elevates hard, which is great because that's going to work in most environments. That's not a slight at all. But that's a guy that is going to see his offensive output, I think, hit another ridiculous echelon in the PCL. And then that learning curve just will come at the big league level. And then people are like, oh, well, what's happening now? That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because he's hitting 412, 460, 882 with 4 homers through 8 games, 7 strikeouts. He's super patient. He hits the ball in the air hard consistently. And that's why he is feasting out there in the PCL.
He's hit, man. Kurt swinging. Tyler Soderstrom is homers this year. And then you got Langley, Lawrence. Like, it's a pretty similar conversation. It's different because they're polar opposite profiles, but it's a similar conversation to Jacob Wilson, where he wasn't going to be challenged until he was seeing the best pitching on the planet. So, all right, you watch Kurtz for 2 more weeks, and then he gets up, and you figure out a spot in that lineup to place him. Here's the thing, though. That lineup is really tough to crack right now because it's not like you're taking everyday ABs away from Soderstrom, and Rooker is pigeonholed into the DH spot. I think at some point they're going to have to sacrifice corner outfield defense and just slap Rooker out there. And it's like, hey, man, try it.
That, or do you try Kurtz out there?
You could
He's a
they need to
sneaky
make a
athlete.
decision soon.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I was saying, like, I think the most telling thing with Nick Kurtz will be if he is playing corner outfield in the next few days or the week or whatever, that okay, they're getting ready to put this guy in the lineup here. Because
Yeah.
the interesting thing with Kurtz too is he's such a good first baseman that yeah, maybe you sacrifice, and of course outfield defense is going to be more important, but at least if you sacrifice some outfield defense, you have a potential Gold Glove caliber first baseman there, and then Soderstrom takes a DH spot and maybe catches here and there if they wanted to do that. But it is really interesting. Like there's not really a clear spot for him unless you force it, and I think it may be one of those cases where you just force it. It's a small sample size, like very small, of course. There's only 27 batted balls here, but he has an average exit velocity of 97 miles per hour, a hard hit rate of nearly 70%. And again, it's foul pole to foul pole. He's going pull side nukes. He's going backside homers, no problem. It's so impressive. And then he's not going to chase. He's going to draw his walks. And that's just a guy that should make a pretty smooth transition to the big league level, which is why I think he should get an opportunity sooner rather than later. It's just they got to find a way to fit him in.
Does he become a rookie of the year long shot if he's up in 2 weeks? Like I know Jacob
Yes.
Wilson is a safe pick right now, but it seems like Kurtz could be a better pick playing in that ballpark too.
Well, which is crazy because Baseball America Park Factors had Sacramento as like a below average environment, but I wonder if that was relative to the other PCL
I
parks
bet it is relative to the
because the
PCL, like
ball
the
is
park
flying
factor.
out there.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It's flying. So with that note, like yeah, with again with the way he hits the ball, yeah, if he's playing first base, especially and getting everyday reps, even I think if he gets up by end of May, I would think he's still a good dark horse because he's going to walk. He's going to accumulate WAR by being a great first baseman. He's going to hit his homers with the way the ball's flying out there. So that would be a fun dark horse kind of rookie of the year candidate. I mean, for those that are using like our BetMGM code, I would sprinkle on it the second he starts playing outfield, if that is another way that they go about it as well. Because I don't think they're going to waste that much time with him in the outfield unless it's imminent call up. And he did play a little outfield in the Arizona Fall League for whatever that's worth.
It is funny. Like I just looked at AAA team numbers at home, and Sacramento not only had the worst team OPS in the PCL, it was 723. They had the third worst team OPS in AAA baseball. Like the only two teams that were worse, as weird as it sounds, last year, Nashville had a 701 team OPS, and Norfolk had a 704 team
Really?
OPS. We talk all about Norfolk being
Yeah.
awesome, but like they struggled after that insane first month offensively. But I mean, I granted you need the right players to hit well at that ballpark. And like Sacramento, it's not like they're loaded top to bottom with bats. Like they had Bryce Eldridge for 2 weeks, and that was
Yeah.
kind of it. But if you put big leaguers in that ballpark, I would be curious to see just what those power numbers look like over the course of the whole season.
Absolutely. Especially and that's why I think we're gonna see just I think just relative to other big league parks, just how much that ball can fly out there. And especially as we get to like the heat of the summer as well. Jurrangelo Cjintje now on the pitching side. And we talked about this on the Just Baseball show because I wanted to just kind of clarify that yes, he threw fuzz, but he did not get up to 101. The Mariners' first round pitching prospect here throws with both arms, and it's one of the more incredible things that we've seen. He was throwing gas, like don't get it twisted. But the stadium gun was a little hot, as tends to be the case. He topped out at 99.7, which is still absolute fuel. Averaged 97.8 from the right arm, averaged 93.5 with his left arm. The other thing that really stood out to me, though, is you look at the pitch data. This guy can spin it, man.
Yeah.
He was getting 2450 RPM on average, 17 inches of vert from a 5.6 release height. That would be comfortably above average. So you've got plus velo, above average, just above average carry. That could be a 70 grade heater. So if he's able to sustain that through larger, stretches here, because we only have a 37 fastball sample here with his right arm. With the left arm, he does not get the same amount of carry. And I think that fastball plays closer to 50 grade. The velo, of course, it's 93.5. He threw 10 fastballs I think he topped at like 95, but it's very weird shape wise. Only 10 inches of vert and 9 inches of horizontal. So like I don't really know. I don't know what the difference is there, or if the field just to kind of spin it or whatever. But he also is releasing from a much lower release out of like 5.4 feet. I think that more deceptive release will work for him if he wants to go left on left. But again, I think it's very clear, like, you have an elite righty here and then a lefty that's a work in progress, which is so weird to talk about in the same person.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I was actually looking for those exact specs. Somebody tweeted that out. I don't know if it's our guy Thomas Nestico or not, but like somebody tweeted out the specs on the fastball and the slider from the right side and the left side. And the right side, it was like, this is a top 100 prospect.
Yeah.
And then the left side, it was like, this guy's not very good, but he's still a big league pitcher, probably. Like if it all, kind of blossoms. So we were talking about just the situational aspect to this, and the funny one, the tired one that I see, tired versus wired. The one that I see is like, well, he could start as a righty one day and then come back and start the next day as a lefty. And you said his oblique would turn into mashed potatoes.
Yes.
I'm totally with you. What we think should happen is you run into a guy that just sucks against lefties, and that's when you flip around.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, like, do you have the slider specs in front of you? I know it's harder from the right side. It's a harder slider.
Yeah.
I think it's a little sweepier from that lower slot from the left side.
Yeah, he gets about 6 inches of horizontal. It's like slurvier, which is interesting. Like it gets
So
that two plane.
honestly, what I'd be doing if I were him is like anytime I throw with the left hand, I would just make sure I can slurve that thing away from lefties. Like I can just sweep that thing away from the barrel and I get guys to chase. Like if you can turn into, and it's a different look, but if you can turn into Ottavino from the left side and like just get it away from lefties, like you're never going to get a righty out from the left side, but you don't have to because you throw with both arms and you have free reign to change whenever you want. But if you can set up a lefty lefty matchup and just sweep 3 pitches away, like just do that once or twice a game. I think that's the most fun way to go about this.
I think it's the smartest way to go about it. The more I think about it and the more you talk about it, because like, you basically can create a lefty specialist within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of your left arm becoming nearly as good as your right arm, where you're able to throw 99, 100 miles an hour already.
I think that ship has sailed already.
Yeah,
Like I don't
not
think there's a world where it catches up.
unless you compromise the right. So like, and it's not just that, he has two different breaking balls with his right arm that are absolutely disgusting. And he's already mixing in a changeup that looks like it can be a good pitch. So like you have just a ridiculous arsenal here potentially with your right arm that, like, if it's a guy with even splits, or even like if it was split a lefty who 60-40 splits, he's a little bit better against righties. I'm throwing with my right arm because my arsenal is so much better. But to your point, like, for the guys that are very splits heavy, you only need to convert yourself or like turn yourself into like a lefty specialist with your left arm. And if you're just heavy breaking balls, and I mean, 90, 93 and a half, and you assume you can get that up to maybe 95 is more than enough with that and a slider. You're a lefty specialist that can get the tough left on left mat, like a Kerry Carpenter. Like you do that a couple times a game, it puts you in a really good spot. So I think that's probably the way to go about it. The thing that nobody talked about though is he threw 12 pitches from the left side and he threw 2 strikes. So like that's gonna need to get a little bit better, I'd imagine. I don't want to like knock that because, like, dude, it's really hard to do. And he did get one out with it, but like there was a 4-pitch walk and then there was a 5-pitch walk. So
yeah, it is funny. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to say Wembanyama, but like the first time I saw Wembanyama live, like I just bought a nosebleed seat in Indianapolis when the Spurs were playing the Pacers. And Wemby, I was just so enamored by him like chucking threes. I didn't care if they went in or not, and he clanked like the first 5. I was like, yeah, but he's shooting threes. Like that's the thing with Sanger, where it's like, that's so cool. He's throwing with the left hand. It might not be great today, but like, it's so cool. Who cares?
Yeah, no, it's exactly it. So we'll see how they keep going about it. I think the lefty specialist is definitely the thing that makes the most sense, but like he's going to need to throw more than 17% strikes.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about Jace Jung and
Yeah,
the start that he's off to in AAA. I mean, the Tigers could probably use another bat in the fold there, but like I'm trying to figure out how that all works too.
I have no idea. I think the best thing to happen to their offense is if it stops snowing in Detroit. Like it was
Yeah.
literally blizzarding against the Yankees yesterday. By the way, Casey Mize shoved again. Agenda is sky high right now. Toledo, 8 games so far for Young, 9 hits. So he's hitting 321, but he has an 1165 OPS. He's got 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 homers. He's walked 9 times in 8 games. This guy is quickly becoming too good for the minor leagues. And his career OPS in the minor leagues is 854. Last year in Toledo was 91 games at an 831 OPS. He walked a ton. He kept the K rate in check. Like this guy, I have no worries about being a AAA bat. I need to see him in the big leagues at this point. Like, I don't know. It's just tough. And I don't know if the Tigers are putting their best foot forward offensively if it does not have Jace Jung in the lineup, to be honest.
I agree. I think at this point too, and he's hitting the ball maybe as hard as ever, which is that was the big thing I wanted to see with him because he is an outslug the EVs type of guy where you are going to get, I think, the backspun fly balls and that carry out of the yard, but the EVs are average or slightly above. He's flashing, 110s, 109s now. And like if he's got the EVs with the trajectories that he hits the ball at, that could push closer to that 25 home run plateau or a little bit more and tons of doubles. That it's a lot easier to split the gap at 108 than it is at 101 when you don't hit it at the perfect line drive angle there. So I think this is interesting, and I think there's a chance that he maybe added some strength going into this year, knowing that that's like the next step for him. Because he's not going to be a savant defender. He's not going to be a batting title contender. He's not going to be a guy that's probably going to even hit 290, right? So he needed to add more juice, and it looks like he may have done that. And especially in Comerica, I think that bodes well for him. It's just where does he fit defensively? Where do they put him in there? Like, is it third, second? Like Keith is playing. They need to figure out kind of the Keith situation too. Where is he going to be playing more consistently? Now Torque is swinging it. Like it's a really interesting situation there, but it's a great problem to have that he's swinging it the way that he is now.
They got to figure out a lot of different situations. Can he play shortstop? The answer is no, but like it
No,
would be nice if he could play
what
shortstop.
do you mean? Javier Baez is playing great.
He is. He's hitting 333 right now. Everybody made sure to tell me that. Hey, did you see Javi's kicking ass? Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, that's just a reminder of how early the season.
Yeah, it's been a week and a half.
But I mean, again, seeing him hit the ball hard like this, and getting off to the start that he has, I think is something that should probably get him an opportunity sooner rather than later. Also, doing what he normally does and not chasing whatsoever, sub 20% in that regard through the first handful of games. Anything else on the Tigers? Like, I'm trying to just figure out where they fit him in, but that might just be a wait and see situation.
I don't think there's a good answer, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like it is totally a wait and see. I mean, they've got a couple of guys that are flat out blocked for playing time with Young and Justin Henry Malloy.
Another guy who's just completely blocked is Chase Meidroth.
Mm-hmm. Why? Why? So you say completely blocked.
I was
Why is
joking.
he blocked?
I'm kidding. Well, you have Jacob Amaya there.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
facts.
I have no idea why Chase Meidroth is not at the big league level right now. I understand he had a bad spring training. I get it. I still wouldn't have cared. I would have sided with the 121 game AAA sample where he got on base at like a 440 clip. But anyways, he's in the ball hard. If a guy like him has a hard hit rate anywhere north of 40%, I'm sold because he is not swung and missed within the zone yet. I like if I have this correct, we get 100% in zone contact.
No way.
Please somebody fact check because it's AAA data. It should be available. I've got 100% in zone contact for Chase Meidroth through the first.
Way.
He's seen 147 pitches that I have tracked here.
Dude.
He doesn't swing and miss. He's hitting the ball harder than ever. He has 3 homers. And I understand that the ball, it's much easier to hit the ball out in Charlotte. But he's like pimping homers. I never thought I'd see this guy pimping homers.
No, and like I'm looking at some of the swinging strikes right now. I just queued up some of the videos. Like they're chases upstairs.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is, and it's just called strike, ball, foul, called strike,
I have
double, called
90%
strike.
contact, 100% in zone contact.
Dude, I'm cross-checking with you. Yeah. And on four-seam fastballs, he's swung at 11 of them. He has an 100% contact rate. He has yet to whiff at a four-seam
Yeah.
fastball. Diving two-seamers, yeah, but like, dude, that's
What else
awesome.
does he have to? But I don't know if he's ready yet. The
Yeah.
defense or blah blah blah. I'd be like, I understand he may not be a shortstop. You can kind of move him around, but who cares? Even if he's not great there, like just see what it looks like at the big league level.
Let me
Last
pull
year,
up this
not
lineup real quick. Like
yeah,
Lenine Sosa balling right now, or what's the
hell
deal
no.
here?
I think he's got
Oh,
like a
Lenine
negative
Sosa has a
30.
560 OPS. I'm stunned. Yeah, Nick
Last year,
Maton's getting DH ABs. Sick.
yeah. Well, he's actually swinging it pretty well.
All right.
Last year, 93% in zone contact rate, 88% overall contact rate. But beyond that, to run those contact rates and then have an average exit velocity of 89 miles per hour, look, he's not going to flash you the 110s, but he hits the ball 90 miles an hour so frequently that I think he's going to have so many doubles and just be a really, really good piece. This was a great get for the White Sox in the Crochet deal because, yeah, you have this high ceiling option in Montgomery. You have Teal, who's kind of a blend of ceiling and floor. And then you just have this high floor, almost guaranteed big league piece in Meidroth that I love. And then it's high ceiling, low floor with Wilking or with Wilcom and Gonzalez. Like I really liked the high floor, high probability big league option here. And I think that the White Sox are so confident that he's going to be a big leaguer that plays, 6 years with them that they just want that extra year. That's how I see it.
Maybe I that is the way that I want to see it, but I also see it as like, oh no, we really got to give Lenny Sosa some run here, see what we've got. But that would be unfortunate.
A very awesome story is Matt Allan. Um, did you think we'd be talking about Matt Allan in the first week of the season?
No.
Mets pitching prospect. When's the last time he pitched? It was 2019. 2019. 5 years since we last saw Matt Allan. Just to put this in perspective, he threw in the New York Penn League. That league's been dead for years. That's the last time we saw Matt Allan. He had 10 and a third innings or so under his belt. It's been injury. It was like I think it was a lot of like the same procedure having like issues with it where like Tommy John, and they had to like redo it, and then they had to like fix a nerve issue in there, and it kept him out forever. And he had the COVID season as well. He comes back, throws 2 2/3 innings. The fastball sat 96.
Yeah.
It was, I can't imagine the emotions for this guy. And I know it was low A, but it was against a good Jupiter Hammerheads lineup, which we'll probably talk about in a minute here.
Yeah.
And he looked awesome. And I am just rooting so hard for this guy. I was reading some of the just conversations and the quotes from him. It seems like he has such a good outlook. I mean, the stuff was nasty. He had this cutter at 90 that was getting whiffs, and then a bigger curveball in the upper 70s that looks like it could be. It's more of like a sweeping curveball. Got 16 inches of horizontal. This stuff's disgusting. Like this is a big league arm. It's just a matter of staying healthy. And maybe they fast track him as a reliever to kind of keep it safer. He's going to be 24 years old, but this is big league stuff. I know it's only 2 2/3 innings, but in these 2 2/3 innings, he threw big league stuff. I know that's a really small sample size. I don't care. This guy hasn't thrown in 5 years.
Yeah.
And if it's 10 pitches or 100 pitches, he has that in him. And that is so cool. And he's got to be on your radar again.
And the fact that he threw another pitch is amazing. And just kind of like walking through what it was Tommy John surgery originally, right? It was COVID, then Tommy John, then ulnar nerve transposition surgery. And what happens there is if the surgically repaired UCL is pushing up against the ulnar nerve, then it's just constant pain because you're pinching a nerve. So what they essentially do, as I roll up my sleeve here, although it's not like you can see my ulnar nerve, is like say your ulnar nerve is on the inside of your elbow and it's pushing up against something now after Tommy John surgery, they will move the placement of the nerve to reduce inflammation. and like reduce the pain that you actually feel. So Tommy John surgery, then they go back in and move the nerve, and then it's Tommy John revision surgery. So the UCL reconstruction frayed immediately, and then they revamped the UCL as well. So that
Sounds
guy
like he didn't have
effectively
Ella Trach do it the first time.
no, I mean you got to go to Elatrash or Meister or the other guy in New York. I don't remember what his name is, but like the big three. If you're not going to the big three, man, it's like you're going to a rinky-dink penny stock guy. But I mean, it was just like that whole story. Like think about that: getting cut on the same elbow 3 times. It's like, oh, we screwed up. Let's go back in again. Oh, we screwed up. Let's go back in again. Or maybe it was just him ramping up with the throw, and the throw created that. I don't want to blame the doctors, but
I'm not. He had 2 different doctors do the surgery. Like there was a
Did
different
he?
doctor
Okay.
that did it the second time. So I don't know. Having the nerve issue and having to have it revised. I ain't a doctor. That's we'll need to talk to your fiance about this too. We were joking
Yeah.
that she's going to be our like correspondent. There's so many questions I have.
Yeah.
That's a good one though. Actually, I would love to get her thoughts on
I
that
told her to
because
go into elbows. I'm like, go into elbows so like we can just ask you everything. Elbows and shoulders. Like I want to know what a capsule tear is. I
please,
want to know what
yeah.
that means.
Can you explain why this one's different than that one?
Right.
It was funny. Like I didn't know she'd react. She's like, "Oh, I'd be your correspondent." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So
Yeah.
we could use that.
All she wants is like hot mic. It's like, let me talk. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I'm
great.
sure that makes you real comfortable.
Yeah, it's great.
No, she needs to be like the pro football docs on Twitter that just like see an injury and just immediately diagnose it with
Yep.
no
ACL a
repercussions.
year. It just
Yeah,
happened 2
like
minutes
okay,
ago.
you figured
Relax.
all that out.
Yeah.
But no, something went wrong there, and I would have lose by the third time that you tell me that you're cutting my elbow. I might just be like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like so, for him to just have the attitude that he's had and keep going, but beyond that, he looks great. He looks great. So I'm going to try and go out there and catch a game sometime in the next few weeks when hopefully he's thrown in Jupiter or in Palm Beach. And but I mean, to get that fastball up to 97, 98 and to be sitting at 96 and that slider looking nasty or a cutter really looking nasty. It's really exciting to see him and I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
The 2 top arms from the 2024 class, they were as advertised. Chase Burns even more so. Burns with the Reds. Did you get to see like some of the video from? I mean, you probably couldn't have escaped it. Like it was everywhere on social.
So I didn't see the line until earlier today, but I saw a lot of the video and I was like, oh, that slider's like gross, huh? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the sensation that I got and it was like, oh, he's gonna get swings underneath that fastball now. Like I thought that was an issue in college. Like every single video I saw, I was like, number one, exceptional center field camera in Dayton. Like you
Oh
can,
yeah. I mean, are they the gold standard in everything in the minor leagues? Like I know there's some other great organizations. I'm not saying they're
I
the.
was Yeah, I was at some really good stops. Like
Yeah.
I think Fort Wayne puts out a great TV product, and I think Indianapolis puts out a great TV product. Outside of Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, I do think Dayton is up there. I also think Nashville is up there as
Mhm.
well. Like those are the ones that jump out to me. So anytime that I can watch a guy throw in Dayton, Fort Wayne, or Indy, I'm going to do that because I know I'm getting a great product.
What's actually crazy? This is in West Michigan.
Shout out West Michigan. Shout out
Yeah,
Dan
because I know
Hasty
Dayton is
and the
the best. Like
Whitecaps.
Dayton's on the CW locally, and they sell out every game. And I mean, they are one of the best organizations in minor league baseball. But I'm looking at the WM on the mound. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah,
This
there we
is in
go.
West
All right, West
Michigan.
Michigan does a bang up job too.
Yeah, shout out. I mean, it's unbelievable camera angle because you can really see the ride on the fastball.
Yes.
Where look, here's where I'm interested though, is we know the fastball quality, like that's been the question of just like, is it going to miss enough bats? And the upper levels, he just overwhelmed guys with 97. It was a 6'4" release height, which is high. You got 17 and a half inches of vert, which is kind of average, but he gets 0 inches of horizontal, which I think really plays up the ride, which is why I think it could just end up working better than maybe some of the Stuff Plus models may spit out because of that perceived ride and how like linearly he works straight towards home, just backspinning the baseball. And it was cold. Like I do think he'll get some more vert, like as it warms up a little bit. Like it had to be a little bit weird, just trying to grip things. It looks super dry, but you kind of saw him just trying to keep licking his fingers to try to get some grip. But he had no problem landing that fastball for a strike. 74% strike rate on the fastball. What was interesting is that slider at like 89 was
Yeah.
just disgusting. like disgusting. And we knew that that was one of the best pitches in the draft, if not the best, right there with Hagen Smith's slider. But then having that bigger curveball that he mixed in as well, that it's not even that big. It's more, it's still like a slider as well. It's almost like he has a super hard slider and then like a slurvier slider that's at like the mid 80s. I mean, if he's, and that was the pitch he wasn't locating as well. If he's locating that one too, he doesn't need a changeup. You can just go fastball, hard slider, and then slurvier slider, and you're going to get lefties, righties out no problem because of the way it tunnels from that release point.
And oh, by the way, like he was facing a West Michigan lineup that had Clark and McGonigal in it too. Like, I don't know. I watched that and I understand that it's only been 4 innings and it was in high A, but Lauder started last year in high A and Lauder got to the big leagues and looked good. And I think if you learned anything from Lauder and if you've learned anything from watching a guy like Skeens, and obviously Skeens' level of execution is so much better than Burns, but we were saying that going into last college season. It was like, what separates Burns from Skeens? The answer is fastball quality and his level of execution. Like Skeens was along the perimeter when Burns was over the heart of the plate, and he would get burned with that. And that's why the ERA wasn't in the ones like Skeens was. But at the end of the day, it's 100 with the slider that you're laying out for us.
Yeah.
And that's better than anybody that he's going to see in high A. It's better than anybody he's going to see in double A. It's better than 99% of the hitters you're going to see in triple A. So where does he meet his match? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this can happen in August.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And the last thing I want to mention is you talk about the camera angle. And I think this is something that he's even shored up a little bit more since being drafted, is maintaining that cut ride instead of losing it a little bit arm side, where like then straight over the top, if he's getting 4 or 5 inches of horizontal and 18 inches of vert, then it's going to look a little bit more standard, where when he's keeping it close to 0 inches of horizontal with this center field camera straight on at home, you can see it cut. Because I think people will say like, oh, cut ride, it just looks like a fastball, because most of the time you can't really see it. You can see this. I'm looking at a Chase Burns fastball right here, 18 inches of vert. This struck out Josue Briseño, who also is in that lineup. 18 inches of vert, -2 inches of horizontal. And you just see it look like it's going to start right over the inner third of the plate, and then it cuts right under the hands at the last second. If he can lean into that a little bit more and preserve that cut ride at that velocity, then that fastball is going to be a huge problem for hitters. So he's very clearly a supinator, and just leaning into that, I think, is going to be great. He threw 1 splitter, and like maybe that's something that he'll keep playing with, but I don't even think he needs it necessarily as much if he's got those 2 breaking balls working for him. So that was really fun to watch.
Yep.
The other guy, though, Hagen Smith, missing bats wasn't a problem, but was a little surprised by the. Oh, and I guess we should say the exact line. Do you have the exact line in front of you on Burns?
Yes, I can grab it right now. Chase Burns. Please hold, and then I'll have Hagen Smith's line as well. But Chase Burns, in his high A debut, 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and 6 punch outs.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Burns.
That's pretty good.
It was good.
Then Hagen Smith, I think I can have this up real quick too in terms of the line, but
I've got it right now. 4 innings, no hits, 1 run. He walked 4, but he K'd 10.
Yeah. The 4 walks was kind of surprising. And when I'm looking at it, can you believe, so 4 walks, but he landed his breaking balls for a strike at a 71% clip. It was fastball command that wasn't there.
Really?
So
high? Was it always high?
I don't have video, but no, it was, he was missing kind of all over. Like I'm looking at the chart, it was just sprayed. And it's like, do I come away encouraged by that though? That like he had a 57% strike rate on the fastball and he still just dominated and didn't give up a single hit and struck out 10.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, right. Like there's no negative. Like if he has a 4-start stretch where he's still spraying the fastball, then yeah. But it almost seemed like he was trying to like almost ease his way in and shake off some rust, because he averaged 93 with the fastball, but then would like reach up to 95.5. So like that was the other interesting wrinkle in it. The slider is just insane. And then he was throwing a different, like more distinct curveball, which we've never really seen from him as much. It's mostly just been fastball slider. And those 2 pitches are crazy. And he mixed in some changeups here and there, which he did in this outing as well. But he's added this curveball as well that now gives him another look, which I think is really interesting because we talked about it. Like, this is a guy that could succeed as a 2-pitch guy, but we always knew he was going to have to try to add a third to reach that ceiling. And here he is with the changeup still being thrown and a curveball in there as well. So I do wonder if maybe that impacted the fastball command a little bit too, just because he was throwing 4 pitches really for the first time. Like, I don't know if we've really seen him mix in 4 pitches consistently.
Yeah. I don't know. I am curious to see like what the mix ends up looking like because Crochet, the whole thing about Garrett Crochet, and you texted me, I remember like midway through the season at Arkansas before Smith was even a glimmer in the White Sox future. You texted me, I can't believe you love Crochet and you don't like Hagen Smith. And I was
I
like, what
forgot
do you
about
mean?
that.
I was just, I like Hagen Smith. I was just team Chase Burns in that one. But
Mm.
like if the similarities are there, Crochet, the whole thing with him last year is, oh, he got through 6 shutout innings by only throwing fastballs. No, I mean, the slider was just tight and it was a cutter, but like it was 2 pitches. If Hagen Smith is throwing 4, number one, he has to land the fastball. But if he's throwing 4 pitches and he lands the fastball, I mean, it can absolutely be Crochet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, no one was touching the fastball when it was in the zone. And
Yeah.
he picked up 5 strikeouts on the fastball. So that's the other part too. It's like hitters still couldn't get to it. 2 more on the slider, 2 more on the curveball, and he picked up a K on the changeup as well. So I think you come away encouraged overall from this one. And I'm pretty sure there was only 1 ball. I mean, and I don't know how well the data was like tracked in this one. It took forever to even get info on it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think only 1 ball was hitting the outfield.
There you go.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that'll play.
So I mean, this is a guy that was dialed in and is probably too good for that level. Chase Burns should have been assigned to Double A. And I'm not just saying that because he was great out of the gate. Like he should have been assigned to Double A. And Hagen
no
Smith,
high A hitter is going to hit 100 with that slider.
there's just no point. And then I like that Hagen Smith is in Birmingham. Like that's good. So that makes sense. And I think we see Burns in Double A probably within a start or 2. Like I just don't see the reason to waste more bullets. But I'm excited to keep monitoring these 2, and hopefully we'll get more video access to the next Hagen Smith start. Wrapping with some of the teams you're most excited about. We'll probably miss a team or 2, but you let us know in the YouTube comments which teams you're excited about in the minor leagues. But I figure I imagine you want to start with the Jupiter Hammerheads.
I was going to start with the Iowa Cubs, to be honest.
Yeah.
AAA. Like Iowa is just it's the slam dunk pick here because Cade Horton is back on the mound. Like Horton is throwing, and then you have other guys like Jack Neely is on that team. Daniel Palencia, I think he's one of the more underappreciated relief arms in minor league baseball. Palencia is just kind of Jeremiah Estrada again. Does he have that changeup splitter thing? No, but Palencia like throws 102. So you got to appreciate that. But then they also have guys like, Jordan Wicks is there. But the offense, man, Kevin Alcantara, Moises Ballesteros, Owen Casey, Ben Cowles, Christian Franklin, Jonathan Long, Chase Strumpf, James Triantos. Like, there's a lot of bats with prospect intrigue in that lineup.
Yeah, that's a loaded team. And that's where the Cubs system is at now, where like so many of their top guys are right there in AAA. And that's why I feel like they got to be making a move sooner rather than later. But that's the other thing. If you're watching that team, if your team's a potential seller, you might be watching a prospect that could be heading your way.
Yep. Big time. Yeah, let's go to Jupiter next. Jupiter is a really good lineup, and I'm looking at a team with Starlene Caba on it. Dylan Head, who's balling out, by the way, 5 hits in his first 3 games, has 2 triples. And 3 for 3 in the stolen base department. Carter Johnson is on that team as well. Abraham Ramirez, who was part of that Jazz Chisholm deal. Andres Valor, who looks really strong and young. And then Andrew Salas, the younger brother of Ethan Salas. And oh, by the way, Nick Brink looked really good, but you have Kiner Benitez and Dishmay on that team as well.
Oh, Benitez is getting a lot of buzz right now in the prospect community. He's a guy that could be kind of that next lefty in the system behind Thomas White. And
because he's built like a linebacker. He's a huge human with a really good changeup.
And he's 19.
Yeah.
Did he turn 19 yet? So like that's a really fun team. And so it goes like when you traded the major league assets, but it's really cool to see it turning into really strong teams and exciting young talent that is definitely concentrated. You have a good Jacksonville team definitely some talent in double A, but I think the really high upside and exciting players are concentrated in low A. And I'm going to try to get out there as quickly as I can, because those guys might get up kind of quickly. It sucks that Morlando's hurt to start the year, because that's a guy I'm really excited to see more of, but that's definitely a loaded roster.
Yeah. Really, any team that Tampa runs out is also an interesting one to me. Like AAA, you've got what, Carson Williams, Trey Morgan, Chandler Simpson, Dominic Keegan, who else? Ian Seymour, Joe Rock. Like those are all the guys in Durham right now. And then in Montgomery, Xavier Isaac, Braden Taylor, Brody Hopkins. Who else? Jackson Bomeister, Yonio
Yeah.
Cure, but he's on the shelf. Homer Bush. Ty Johnson is in Double A. Cooper
that's
Kennedy
good.
is in Double A. Colton Ledbetter. Like all these teams are
That's
just
loaded. Yeah, that's loaded. And then high A for the Mariners, Everett.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sanja, who we just talked about. I mean, then you look at like the bats that they have potentially factored in here. You have Michael Arroyo, Cole Emerson, Charlie. This is great. Charlie Pagliarini.
Sure.
He struck out like 40% of the time last year, but he hit a ball 117 the other day. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. And then, of course, Lazaro Montes, an outfielder, Ty Pete, who had a great spring. So that's a really fun team as well.
Interesting. I dig that. Yeah, those are the ones that really jump out to me. I'm trying to think if there's another that crosses my mind. I mean, Great Lakes has Zaire Hope and Josue DePaula in the same outfield.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary. I think Vegas, you still have plenty of talent there. Worcester, as long as you have those guys there, like in Roman Anthony's there.
Well, and dude, Indianapolis was running out of rotation before Harrington got up. By the way, Thomas Harrington, a 4-out save.
Well, yeah, what was that?
Majinski for 5, Harrington for 4. It was a really interesting piggyback, but like the Pirates did it and they won a ball game, so good for them. But Harrington was there to open the year with Bubba Chandler, with Braxton Ashcraft, with Mike Burrows. Like that was, and oh, by the way, you have this like wild card thrown in there, a Carson Fulmer as well, which just scratches my 2015 prospect itch. He's good.
Yeah, and then I think the AAA affiliate for the Mariners as well in Tacoma, like you've got Logan Evans there. You've got Hancock, who's going to be up and down all the time, but Harry Ford, and seeing how they're going to kind of utilize him potentially. Locklear, Ben Williamson, Cole Young. That's a somewhat interesting team as well. But yeah, I'm trying to think, like there's always a roster that we missed. So let us know, like in the comments, if there's one that you're most excited to see that we might be missing. I'm just really pumped in the Florida State League, period. Like just so much talent around. And of course, we talk about West Michigan. Like you're going to get McGonigal, who's banged up right now, and Clark and DePaula, or not DePaula, excuse me, Briseño, Wrong Josue. But yeah, that's going to be really fun to monitor as well. We'll be checking in on like the best performers and probably early next week across every level. And I'm going to be getting some live looks this week, which I'm really excited about since Marlins are out of town. I'm going to be going covering the minor league games. And then next week, I'm going to be seeing you at the ballpark when the D-backs are in town. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I get to get some looks hopefully in the next week or two at Connor Griffin. I really am excited to see Bryce Rayner. So, and then the Marlins high affiliate or low A affiliate, excuse me, is just loaded with talent as well. So very pumped about the Florida State League. Oh, Trey Savage, by the way, was assigned to low A as well. So I'm interested to see Savage potentially make a start for the Blue Jays low A affiliate once they work their way down here as well. So we'll keep you guys posted. If you're in the Discord, would love for you to join us. If you're not, that link's in the episode description to join. That's where I'll let people know, of course, where I'm doing my live looks and send video in there and live takeaways and stuff like that. I've been doing live bonus stuff in there as well, like kind of recaps on everything going on in the minor leagues. We're just talking ball in there 24/7. Then we've got so many different layers and chats. We did a Bowman break in there that was discounted. We've got so many fun things going on. Then, of course, Peter's picks, MLB stuff, fantasy, draft channel with our On the Clock guys. It's a blast in there. So we'd love to have you click the link in the episode description to join us. And it's the best way to support Just Baseball. That'll do it for this episode. We got Dodgers top prospects next episode later this week on Thursday. Looking forward to that. We'll talk to you then.